First of all, we will discuss some of the things just like how we can communicate and our devices can communicate. Okay, so this topic here we will discuss. So first of all, any idea about the communications, like how many types of communications? Just like yeah, just like unicast, multicast, and broadcast. Noises. So yeah, types of communication. Basically, there are three types of communications which are known as unicast, multicast, and broadcast. Like, let's see. First is known as a unicast. Unicast means here we can say that one-to-one communication. Like in this session, we are communicating to each other. Only two persons are communicated to one to another. Okay. So same as like if we are when we are connected our server and when we are connected our devices of all a single person and communicating a single person, that communication is known as a unicast. Okay, so here we can say that one to one communication, one to one communication is known as unicast. In unicast here we can add various types of things, just like server and client are communicating to each other. This is known as a unicast. And similar here we can say that when we are sending a data from one device to another device, that is also known as a unicast. Okay, like here I am adding some of the example like server and client. Okay, and second types of communication is known as a multicast. Yeah. In multicast here we can add one to many. Like one to many means if you are communicating within a group, just like our WhatsApp group, Telegram group, and as well as Insta group, Facebook group, that is our multicasting. And in multicasting, when we are communicating to each other, only selected person can be communicate. Not every person can communicate. Just like when you are sending a message in your group, so on that time only selected person can see your message and read your message as well as reply your messages. So that is our multicast. Okay, so here we can add one to many communications. Okay, and here we can add some of the example like group of communications, and this group can be any your group. Okay, and as well as if you are talking about some of the protocols just like EIGRP, OSPF, and RIP protocol, so they are using one of the IP address which is known as a multicast IP addresses. Okay, so we will also discuss what is the multicast addresses range. Okay, so these are our second types of communication, multicast. And after that, third is known as a broadcast. In broadcast communications, here we can say one to all. One to all communication. And one to all here we can say that just like I'm streaming any types of things. So that is performing on broadcast. Like when you are seeing on YouTube on live concert, and as well as if when you're watching any types of movies, serial and podcast and web series, so that things are performing as a broadcast. And similar you can use on your WhatsApp status. Like in your WhatsApp status you can perform these three things like unicast, multicast and broadcast. Like unicast, if you're adding one of the your status for a single person, that is known as a unicast. If you're selecting some of the specific users, some of the specific persons, so that is known as our multicast. And similarly we are not selecting any types of persons, so your status can see on your all of the contacts, so that is known as our broadcast communications. Okay, just like I'm sharing one of the things. See, and we are not searching on Google, so there they told us there are various types of communication. See, when I'm searching types of communications, see here you can see and network. See, it will see vertical chain and these, but actual it work on only these three: unicast, multicast and broadcast. Okay, yeah. And after that we are discussing about the modes of communication, like how our devices are work. Because at the end, if when you are performing any types of communications, you should have to use a, a hardware. Okay, just like your phone and your laptop, your tab, etc, etc. So these devices comes under a modes of communications. See, modes of communication. So in modes of communication also is three types of communications. First is known as a simplex mode. And if you're talking about simplex mode, in simplex mode it tells us only one way communication. If you're using any types of hardware devices, so that device can communicate only one way. Just like if I'm using a device for sending, so that device can be only send or data, not it will receive. Okay, so here we can add one way communication. Receive, yes. So which device here you can use as an example, like which type of devices here you can add. Tell me any types of example, and I think you're using on daily basis. Yeah, see, just like your keyboard. Yeah, yeah. In keyboard here we are giving an input, but output will be received on our screen. Okay, same as mouse, okay, and speaker, yeah, and similarly mic you can add, yeah. These are our devices work on a simplex mode, okay, yeah, and yeah, so same as, and second, same as, similarly here we can add second mode which is known as a half duplex. So see, its name is half duplex. It means it work on both send and receive. See, here you can add these things in this mode. Both device means here sender and receiver device. Okay, so in this mode, both device can send and receive or data, receive or data. But listen to me very carefully. But not a same time, or we can say that it cannot be sent or received simultaneously. Okay, but not a same time. Okay, so which which device you preferred? Yeah, people. Uh, yeah. So here, which device you can prefer? If I'm talking about the any hardware, so which hardware? Okay, and just like your walkie-talkie. Yeah. So here we can add an example walkie-talkie. Okay, and second is known as your radio. Okay, and third is known as a full duplex mode. Yep. In full duplex mode, both device can communicate and both device can send and receive a data at the same time. Okay, yeah. So here you have various types of information. Yes. So in this mode, both device can send and receive a data at a same time. So here we can add an example just like our phone. Okay. And our router. Yeah. And switch which we are using. Okay. And as well as here you can add your tab and your laptop. So these devices work on our full duplex mode. Okay, I hope so it's clear for you. Okay, that's perfect. Now we will move on another topic. Any idea about the IP addresses? Yep. Yes. Okay. And okay, noises. So here first of all we have to understand how many types of addresses. Okay, so in, if you're talking about in technical term, so there are two types of addresses. First is known as a logical address. Okay, which is also known as a IP address. Okay, and second is known as a physical address. So in a physical address, here we can add just like MAC address. Okay, so if you're talking about in these addresses in more detail, so first of all we have to understand how our physical addresses are work and how many bits it is. Okay, so first of all here we will discuss our MAC address. So any idea about the how many bits on our MAC address? Not not in 16 bit. So if you're talking about our MAC address, so first of all you will have to understand MAC address is our 48 bit. Okay, it is 48 bits values. And MAC address is also known as a hardware address. Okay, it is known as a hardware address. And if you're talking about in more detail, so MAC address is divided in two parts. It is divided in two parts. See, it is divided in two part. So first is known as a here in division of MAC addresses. Okay, so first is known as a IOU. या फिर here you can say that OUI, sorry, OUI. OUI stands for Organizational Unique Identifier. Okay, Organizational Unique Identifier. Okay, and second is known as a vendor assigned. And OUI tells us first 24 bit of your MAC address is provided by OUI. It means Organizational Unique Identifier. It is a open source, or it provide a global identity of your device. Just like if I'm tracking of any types of MAC addresses and how to know which vendor or use your device and which vendor or provided your MAC addresses. So first of all you will have to check your first 24 bit, like Intel or provided or Ryzen are provided, which organization, which vendor are provided, and after that you can track on that vendor, like HP are provided, Dell are provided, and ASA are provided. Which vendor you can check, and after that vendor can tell you all the information, just like which user or use these MAC addresses. Yeah, so on that case they are using these terms. Okay, yeah, I hope so it is clear for you. Yeah, see, 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 first of all here you will have to understand, like when I'm opening my network adapter, and in my network adapter here's some of the information, just like physical address, and also it is known as a MAC address. And here information first 24 bit like C8 5E A9, it is our first 24 bit, and last 24 bit is F9 B4 7 9. So currently we don't know about the who is the vendor who is provided your MAC address on your devices. So first of all, here we search on these things C8 5E A9. Okay, so on your, sorry, yeah, on your browser, here you will have to search this term MAC address finder. Okay, yeah, MAC address finder. And here this information you can use any web. So here I am using this, and it tells us, see, MAC address or OUI or vendor name, which we are discussed. Okay, and here we are adding these MAC address. See this one C8 5E, okay, and A9. See C8 5E A9. Okay, and here I am searching. See, it tells us all of the information. See this one address, this one, and it is private? No, it is not private. Who is provided? Intel Corporate, and its organization where it will be located. So it is located in this address. See, and is registered. Yes, my address is registered, and start address this is. See, and after that last 24 bit it can be different. So that's why it tells us end address it can be different because it is provided to our vendor. And when it will be provided, see, in 2022, and in 2022 it is a information of Intel Corporate vendors informations. Here you can see. So here you can use these information to track any types of MAC addresses if you have. And after that you can easily find a user, and if you can easily find any types of attackers. And similarly you will have to multiples options to track or find our MAC addresses. Okay, it is a basic informations to find any types of MAC addresses, who is a vendor and who is provided of these things. Okay, so I hope so it's clear now. Okay, that's perfect. So it is our MAC address, and it is divided in two parts, OUI and vendor assigned. Okay, now we will discuss these terms. First, IP address. So how many types of IP address? Yeah, which one? Yes, IPv4 and IPv6. So it is two types of address. Okay, so first is known as a IPv4 and second is known as a IPv6. What is difference between in these two IP addresses? No, no. Uh, Basically It is a differentiate between the values and its format. Like if you're talking about IP version 4, so IP version 4 is in 32 bits values. But if you're talking about IP version 6, so it is in 128 bits value. And IP version 4 is in a decimal format, but IP version 6 is in hexadecimal format. So let's discuss in more detail. Okay. So, yeah. So, first of all, we will discuss in IP version 4 in more detail. Okay. After that, we will discuss IP version 6. Okay. Yeah. And here V means like IP V. V means version. Okay. IP version 4. Similarly, V IP version 6. See. IP version 4. So first of all, it is 32 bits value, and second is it is in decimal format, and which is also known as a dotted decimal. It is in dotted decimal. And why we are using dotted decimal? First of all, see, if you are using any IP version 4, so just like an example, here you can use 192.168.1.0. So dot is representing dotted, and after that decimal value. So that's why here we are saying dotted decimal value. Okay, it's clear, Krish? And one more thing, it's very informative. It is divided in 4 octet. IP version 4 is divided in 4 octet. Octet means part. IP version 4 is divided in 4 part. Just like see 192 dot first part, 168 second, 1 third, and 0 fourth. So it is 4 octet. Okay. It's clear? And every octet is 8 bits values. Every octet is 8 bit, like 8 8 8 8. So 8 into 4, 32. Okay. Yeah, just like similarly, first octet 8 bit, second octet 8 bit, third octet 8 bit, and fourth octet is also 8 bits. So that's why here we are saying every octet is 8 bits. Okay. And one more thing, in IP version 4 there are 5 classes which are representing to each other. So here we can say that it have 5 classes. So which one is our classes and what is our classes? Let's see. So first of all, here some of the classes of IP version 4. Like first is our class A, second is our class B, and third is our class C, fourth is our class D, and fifth is our class E. And these classes are represent which IP you can use and which type of IP addresses are provided in IP version 4. Okay. So every IP addresses have a here we can say that this term every classes have a unique range of these addresses. So what is the range and how it's work? So before discussing, you will have to understand bits. Okay, so every octet is 8 bits. So how can you understand 8 bit? So uh, do you know about the binary? Okay. Okay, no issues. Only here we can use a binary only 8 bits, not every bits. So in a binary language, we can use 0 or 1. Okay. So 0 means we can use, and sorry, 0 means we cannot use, but in 1 we can use. So here I am adding and representing 1 because we can use. So just like first bit, second bit, third, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. These are our 8 bit. Every bit has a different values. Like if you're talking about these bit, so first bit value is 128. Second bit value is 64, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, and 1. 1. See, if you're adding, if you plus all these bits, all of 8 bits, so its total value is 255. Like 128 plus 64, 192 plus 32, 224 plus 16, 240 plus 8, 248, 252, 254, and 255. Okay. So in every octet, you can use maximum the number of 255 if you are using all of the bits, 8 bits. Okay. And if you're not using any types of bits, like if I'm not using, so its value is 0. All of the bits are 0. And what is the value of 0? Only 0. Yeah. 0. So 0 to 255. And if you are multiply like 2 to the power 8, so 2 to the power 8 is value is our 256. Okay, like this. If I am using this term 2 to the power 8, so its value is 256. But if I'm plus these 8 bits value, so its value is only 255, because in this term it will not add 0, it will not consider 0. But if I'm using this 255, these values, and 0 is also one of the values, so total 255 and 0. Okay, so similarly in our classes in IP version 4, they are using a different range of IP addresses, like which class we can use, which class ISP can use, which class our server can use, and which class our multicasting use, which class our R&D team will be use. So these are different ranges of every classes. So first of all, here we will discuss about the range of these classes, and in a range it will in 0 to 255, in between we cannot use 256. Okay, yeah. So yeah, so first of all, here we will discuss these things. What is the range of class A? So class A range is start 0 to 127. Okay, and if you're talking about class B, so class B range is 128 to 191, and class C range is start at 192 to 223. And we can use only these three classes: class A, class B, and class C. Class D we cannot use but you'll have to know about the range. So class D range is start 224 to 239, and class E range is start 240 to 255. And see, in IP version phone, if you're including all of these classes, so it started at 0. See, it started at 0 and end with 255. See, these range 0 to 255. And similarly, class D we cannot use because class D is also reserved. Okay, so it is reserved for multicast. Yeah, in previous we have discussed unicast, multicast and broadcast. So when we are performing any types of multicasting, so on that case it will use multicast address in between 224 to 239. Okay, yeah. And similarly, class E is also reserved for research and development, R&D. Okay, yeah, I hope so it's clear. Okay, that's perfect. And now we will discuss in more detail. Okay, so similarly, first of all, I will share something with you. Like if I'm using these address on my network adapter on my, see, here I'm configuring one of the IP address, and that IP address is in class D, this one. Okay, so see what error it tells us. See, first of all, see what is the my IP address. See, my IP address is 172.16.2.35. Okay, and now I'm configuring another IP address, and let's see here IP version 4 I'm configuring and use of the following IP address, and here I'm adding class D address 224. See, 224, and see it is not a valid entry because class D is reserved for us for multicasting. Okay, so that's why we cannot configure, we cannot use these IP address on our devices, and we can use only between 1 and 223. If I click on OK, so it will use 223 last address of class C. See, 223 automatically it will be used. Yeah, so that's why here we cannot configure, we cannot use manually on our devices 224 to 255 because 239 for reserved multicast and 240 to 255 reserved for R&D, research and development. And similar in class A and in class B, some of the address are also reserved for a purpose, and what is the purpose and which address are reserved we will discuss. Okay, sorry. So let's discuss these things. Reserved IP address. Okay, reserved IP address in IPv4. Okay. So first is reserve our IP address 0. 0 is reserved for unknown network destination. So here I am adding first address 0. So in IP address form, here we can add like this 0.0.0. Okay, because a single zero we cannot configure on our devices, on our any types of devices. So here we are using 0 dot 0 dot 0 dot 0. It is reserved for unknown network destination. Okay, and what is the meaning of unknown network destination? Any idea? Yeah, not here we cannot see, we cannot see these things. Here we can add one of the term like uh, what is the Google IP address? I hope so you are using Google also. So what is the Google IP address? Any idea? That is our Google DNS IP address, not a Google IP address. That is our DNS IP address, domain name server, not a Google IP address. Okay. Yeah. So similar. Are you using YouTube? What is the YouTube IP address? Yeah. Similarly, on that case, when we don't know the destination, what is the destination, where is the destination, and what is the destination IP address, so on that case, our devices, our end devices is configured as a unknown network destination. Let's verify. See, in your command prompt, and here you will have to run this command, route print. Yeah. Are you using Windows device or Mac? Mac. I think in Mac it is not work this command in CMD. Another command will be run on your device. So I will share with you. Okay. No issues. Okay. Yeah. So in Windows device here you can use this command, route print, and here you can see these information. See, IP version 4 route table. In route table, it tells us network destination. See, 0 dot 0 dot 0, and it is our router IP address, and it is my device IP address. Have you remembered? See, 2 dot 35, 172.16.2.35, and my gateway is 172.16.2.1. Yeah, see now 2.35 my device IP address, and it is my gateway IP address. When I'm searching and when I'm sending a traffic and this destination is doesn't know, on that case it will use this address 0 dot 0 dot 0, because our destination is unknown. Okay. Yeah, I hope so it's clear. Okay, so that's why our 0 is reserved for unknown network destination. Okay, and similar second address is also reserved, like this address is known as 127.0.0.02, 127.0.0.02, 255.255.255. These all of the range is reserved. It is reserved for local host testing. I hope so. You are also using this IP address. So local host testing, or we can say that loop back testing. What is the meaning of local host testing or loop back testing? Yes, on your local machine. Yes. So on that case, it will use for verifying, for your checking your network adapter and your local machine, your local device, local host. And how can you use this? So on your command prompt, and here you will have to ping, like you will have to run this command ping, and after that you can use 127.0.0.1. When it will be pinging, it's work finally. Okay, so that's why it is reserved for local host testing. It means your network adapter is work properly or not. Your hardware testing basically. Okay, and similar third is also reserved, and third address is in our class B. See, and it range is 169.254.0.0 to 169.254.255.255. Okay, and it is reserved for APIPA. What is the meaning of APIPA? So APIPA stands for Automatic Private IP Address. Okay, Automatic Private IP Address, and it is a alternate of DHCP for providing an IP address for your device. Like when you are connected your Wi-Fi, so are you manually configured on IP address on your devices, or it will take automatically? It's take automatically. So on that case, it will use DHCP like this. Here you can check DHCP. On my devices, it will use DHCP. See, so that's why it will be provided. Okay. So when it is filled, our DSCP is filled. So on that case, our APIPA, this one is provided IP address, and it range is in between this one 169.254 dot something dot something. It can be in between 255.255, in between it can be any. Okay, just like I'm share with you something. Just give me a sec. I will check. Okay. Yeah. Uh, Here it will be used this IP address, and similarly, what is the IP address of? See. So basically, it right now on my devices we are manually configured all of the IP address. So in practical, I will say share with you these informations. Okay. So no, don't worry. Yeah. So these three addresses are reserved, just like in class A, 0 and 127. 0 and 127 are reserved. And similarly, in class B, in between 128 to 191, in between these address are also reserved. if I'm removing these three addresses, like if I'm removing 0 and 127 on class A, so on that case, here we can use 1 to 126. Okay, because 0 are reserved and 127 are reserved. Same as in class B, 169 are reserved. So 128 to 168 we can use, and 170 to 191 we can use similarly. Okay, so that is our actual IP addresses remaining, where we can use or configured on our devices. Okay, I hope so. It's clear. Okay. Yeah. If it is any doubts, you can ask me. Okay. Yeah. Now, tell me one more thing. Uh, any idea about the what is the public IP address and what is the private IP address? Okay. And which IP address we can use on our end devices? Which type of IP addresses? Most of the case we can use. Yes, private. Most probably we are using private IP addresses. Yeah. And when you are connected with your internet, so on that case, we are using our public IP addresses. Yeah. When you are using internet, see, I will share something with you. Okay. Check all of the information, and it is a very informative. See, first of all, here, what is the my IP address? 172.16.2.35. Okay, it is. And when I am searching on my browser, so see, here I am. What is my IP? See, and here, what I will see? See, it is different. And what it tells us, your public IP address. It is my public IP address. Yeah. So when you are using internet and when you want to communicate over the global communication over the internet, on that time you will have to use one of the public IP address. Without public IP address, you cannot access your internet. Okay. Yeah. So here we will discuss in more detail. Okay. Let's see. See. First of all, difference between private IP and public IP. See. So private IP, it is free of cost. It means anyone can use private IP addresses. Okay. And it is on these three classes. It is divided in three classes also, same as our class A, class B and class C. It means in these three classes it have already private IP addresses, and private IP address can use in LAN only. only you can use in local area network, not is use in your WAN network, wide area network. Okay, so first of all, what is are the classes? So class A. So class A have an IP address which are used in privately. So in class A, it private IP address range is 10.0.0.02, 10.255.255.255. You can use all of these range if you are using private IP address for class A. So here you can use. Okay, and similar in class B. See, now you will have to understand this thing. In class B, it range is start at 172.16.0.02, 172.31.255.255. And listen to me very carefully, Krish. See, at my device, it is a range 172.16 dot. See, at my device, see, 172.16.2.35. What is the IP address? Which type of IP address is configured on my router? Public or private? Private. Yes, and it is a class B. But I think in your case, on your device, it will use class C private IP address. First of all, here you will have to see this range. See, if you're talking about class C, so class C range is start at 192.168.0.02, 192.168.255.255. It is a range of class C IP address. Now you can check your network adapter on your device and your IP address is a lot in 192.168. Something. It can be. Check your device.